I'm doing a little deep breath. Why don't we start with a deep cleansing breath? How about that, sister? Whew. Hey, sister, how you doing?
Well, I'm so happy that was beneficial to you. I'm doing well. Just out, I'm doing well. There's just been a lot of stuff.
Let's do another deep cleansing breath. Whew. Shake it off, shake it out. Yes. You are tuned in live this evening with Hey Sister. I'm Demetria, that's Christina, and we're Hey Sister, a show that is for sisters, by sisters, and about sisters and misters. How about that? Hey, if you're tuning in today, we would love for you to like, follow, share, and subscribe. See, I'm trying to get my melodic voice on. How about that? Yeah. And we want you to join the conversation in the comments. Let folks know that you're watching us hey tonight and never miss an episode. Subscribe to our website, get some merch, and be a part of the Hey Sister family. Ah,
That's all.
yes. Okay, sister, what's up?
I said that's awesome.
That's it. That's all you got to say. You didn't like my trying out my new voice? You didn't like that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can revisit it a little bit later.
She said she didn't like that, y'all. Well, what's up? It is Sunday. It
Almost the
is
end of October already.
almost the end of October, October 27th, and we are here barreling towards the end of the year of our Lord 2024. We are about 8 or 9 days out from the election be ending because election has already started and you can vote now if you are in an early voting state. Um, each state has different rules about when their early voting starts, how long their early voting goes. I'm dropping in a link to an article and a video from NBC News that shows that over 35 million votes have already been cast. And I can't remember. I'm going to do a little quick search, like what is the number of registered electorate? But over 35 million votes have been cast across the country. So records have been set for early voting in many states. So yeah, it's up. Don't worry, Jody, if you missed the notification. No worries, no worries. We got you, boo. Hey, girl. Hey, how you doing? So make sure that you vote early, preferably, so that you won't have to get caught up on November 5th. And while you're at it, if you have your phone handy, why don't you text a few people in your family? I texted my young people this morning to make sure that they get their mail-in ballots sent back because they have to be postmarked. Oh, we both look fresh, girl. She said we both looking fresh. Okay, girl.
Thank you,
All
Miss
right.
Jody. That's very nice.
Thank you, girl. Hey. But yes, make sure that you go ahead, get your voting plan, get voted. So sister, I know you said you're gonna go tomorrow. Arizona is in the process of early voting, and you got your materials, so you got your ballot there.
Ballot
And
here, but I just need everybody. This is the general election publicity pamphlet. Like
that's a book. That ain't no pamphlet, girl. That's a
right.
book.
I know people who
They
wrote
got
this.
volumes and editions. What?
I mean, y'all, you know, I never like studying for tests, and I certainly don't like studying to. Then these are all the supplemental things that I've received. Now this is official stuff. This ain't the stuff from
Campaign.
campaign material. This is like official stuff. Election 2025. Yeah, but this is a pamphlet, but it's just on one prop.
Oh, how many propositions are y'all voting for over there in Arizona?
18,000. I don't know, girl. I just know this thing is. This is y'all. And this can easily discourage people who ain't trying to who looking for a reason. But I'm gonna thug it out. We're gonna get through this voter education guide, and I'm gonna figure out what's on my ballot. Let's see. Let's just take a look see. By the way, yeah, I typically just drop it off after as opposed to mailing it back in. Another insert, because why not?
Okay, don't show it all now, because I don't know what the laws are now. We won't break no laws now.
I ain't breaking no laws. I'm trying to see how many pages. One of two front.
And that's what Jody agreed with you, that it can discourage people. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, two front and back, thorough, very thorough. Let's see how many props. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 propositions.
My God.
But I get a
sticker. Well, I'm glad you got your sticker. But this is why when people say, oh, they don't have nothing to vote for, or they don't deal with politics. Well, baby, politics is dealing with you and in your life, because I'm sure the propositions go from everything from probably millage taxes for schools to roads to anything else, honey. So please stop the foolishness and get, in the words of the one Jennifer Lewis, the fantastic, fantabulous Jennifer Lewis, get your ass out and vote.
Yeah. There's a plethora of things that will definitely, let me just see one relating to property tax. I guess if you got some property, child sex trafficking, all right, relating to county transportation excise sales tax, and that one is a countywide one. I think that's one that had the book. Refer to the people by the legislature relating to the responses to harms at the border. Okay, refer to the people by the legislator relating to rulemaking. You see what I'm saying? You got to know how they, girl. Okay, yeah, it's a lot. First responders. Okay, we got to talk about the first responders. Yeah, I'm clearly gonna have to sit on this floor, spread it all out, just go back to college real quick and figure it out.
But you have a plan. You're going to fill out your ballot. You say you're dropping it off tomorrow, and it will be.
I mean, drop it off, but I'm pushing through the machine myself. I like to see it go in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, however you do it, sister, you get it done. So everybody make sure that you get it done. Get out and vote. Get it done. Yes, they all long, honey, but that's why people can't say, oh, they don't care nothing about politics. Baby, politics is interfering with your life each and every day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know where they're living, so
I don't know where they're living either. Well, you said tonight's title was going to be, can we talk about it? So what you want to talk about first, sister?
Well, I mean, all right, y'all. Let me tell y'all why I'm perplexed. I had to bring it up earlier in Sunday school. So can we talk about Donnie Swaggart for just 1 second? Now,
okay.
We are.
Can you tell the people who Donnie Swaggart is?
That's what I was about to do. So we are from the great states of Louisiana. And if you all are of a certain age, if you are probably at this moment having hot flashes in life, then you may remember a pastor by the name of Jimmy Swaggart. I would have to look up the exact year when Jimmy found himself in the pulpit crying profusely because he had
Sinned.
sinned.
Okay, but first of all, now I'm Googling them. And so you mean to tell me Donnie at the big age of 70 had the audacity to open his mouth? Let me hush. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, again, so Donnie obviously, I mean, their church is still clearly flourishing in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I believe he has like a $1.5 million home or something like that, which in Baton Rouge is a very nice home. It's still flourishing, it's still thriving. But years ago, Jimmy Swaggart, his father, was a televangelist. He actually was one that popularized televangelism. And he came on TV saying he had sinned. He had been pulled over and had a prostitute with him. So there's that. Here we are in the year of our Lord 2024. Donnie Swaggart. I can tell you I've never heard a sermon from a Donnie Swaggart in my life, but I really didn't even know. 1988. Thank you, Miss Jody. Thank you. I didn't even really know that their ministry was flourishing as much as it is. But nonetheless, it appears, because you can just find him on YouTube, it appears he's been talking a bit about politics. And I guess he started this week's sermon. It was Speak Now or Forever Lose Your Freedom was the title. And in it, I'll just, I got to pull up the exact words so I can just give a.
So this was last Sunday, not this Sunday that we are sitting in.
Not today. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this says, so in this article in the Christian Post, it says the headline is Pastor Donnie Swaggart rebukes Black church for endorsing Kamala Harris. And his words was, the statement I'm about to make, I'm going to be called a racist and I will be called every name under the sun. But somebody needs to stand up and speak to the Black church. He began in his critique to members of the Family Worship Center Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where his father remains senior leader. Donnie goes on to say, when the largest African-American Pentecostal denomination, when that leader stands up and said, I endorse that woman, he was saying, I endorse murder, I endorse homosexuality, I endorse lesbianism, I endorse transgenderism. I endorse every evil that hell could prosper or bring up to be right. That's wrong, folks, he said to applause. Then it goes on to talk about, he says, and the Black church votes predominantly for the party that is anti-God. What's going on here? What's going on? So then he further is, I guarantee you, if 1860 was today, they wouldn't say a word about preacher. Now my page don't want it wants to be unresponsive, girl. Let me exit that.
It says, I guarantee you, if 1860 was today, they wouldn't say a word about preachers preaching against slavery. They would trumpet it. And they should. So then why will not the African American church stand up for righteousness and stand up for the word of God? Who are you talking to?
Keep going.
Oh,
keep going.
Okay. Come on, church. Come on. You can call me racist. You call me every name on the sun, but I am right. Now, see, that's what we're gonna stop right there and pause. I am right. See, these last few days I've been participating with my girl Dr. Lana in the trauma cure, and see, that's part of his traumatized and delusional brain, is that he thinks he is right and that he is not seeing the world through his own filters and his own lenses and his own experiences. Boo, you are not right. You just have your perspective. How about
Absolutely.
that?
That was something he said. I mean, first of all, it was insulting that he did not refer to her as Vice President Kamala Harris. He said that woman. So that was insulting. Secondly, somebody has to talk to the Black church. Dear Mr. White Man, if you don't go to a Black church on a regular basis and seek ways to work together, for the body of Christ, if you don't go to a Black church on a regular basis and seek ways to, as a ministry, perform outreach efforts, then how dare you get up in your pulpit and attempt to admonish the Black church?
Mm-hmm.
You got some caucasity.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. And then to further say all that, because they're gonna call me racist. I'm gonna be called racist. Yeah, you will be. Rightfully so. Because this ain't your first move. This ain't the first time you've done this. And so you should be called racist. You should be called racist when, again, if the racists are voting for Donald Trump and you're endorsing him, and this, again, is not the first time he's spoken out about this particular political campaign,
Mm-hmm.
or election, then yeah, I gotta ask again, as the young man so eloquently asked on Instagram, you got to ask yourself, if you're not a racist, what do you and the racists got in common? Why would y'all both be, why would you feel comfortable pushing the same button that they pushing if you're not racist?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not racist, if you're a person of color, particularly a Black person, how is it that Donald Trump can be good for you and for a white supremacist at the same time? I mean, we're not.
The math don't math to me, but you know.
The math don't matter to me either. And we're not talking about policy. Because y'all can't verbalize policy for me. You haven't verbalized policy at all. I'm not even sure that most of the people who say it's about policy even understand what political power the president has, what the executive branch is capable of doing. So when you say it, so it's not about policy. And if it's just about money for you, then you're a vapid person. Because, I'm sorry, isn't the love of money the root of all evil?
Well, you know, I don't know what book he reads, what Bible he reads. I know in this same article, and I guess I'll just drop a link in there so y'all can look at it yourself. There is a bishop, and I know you're going to talk about another one, but a Bishop Talbert Swan who rebuked him, said, the overwhelming support of white evangelicals for Trump exposes profound hypocrisy within their political and religious alignment. And then there's, you can read the whole quote there later, but the other part for me that was the strong is that the evangelical church's selective morality, opposing certain sins like abortion or homosexuality while embracing mass violence, exploitation, and white supremacy, reveals a deep hypocrisy and exposes the fact that their allegiance is to power and racial domination, not to the gospel they claim to follow. And I think that's what it boils down to all day, every day, that folks are claiming Jesus or cosplaying as Christians, but in no way, shape, and or form would even recognize, Jesus would not even recognize them,
Right.
In no way, shape, or form by the behavior that they condone. Because see here, as we talk about, like, you have to be clear that judgment is not mine. Because God said, he said, judgment is mine, said the Lord. It ain't mine. We were called to love one another. But, I always had an issue with love your neighbor as yourself, because some of y'all don't love yourselves. And that's the bigger problem.
Right.
So please don't love me like you love yourself, because you don't love yourself, okay? Love me how I choose and need and want to be loved. And that means that you don't have to accept. You don't have to endorse, acknowledge, support anything that I do in my life. You just need to recognize my humanity, my struggle, and my walk is mine. And I am not going to create any systems or barriers for you to be able to fulfill your God given potential here. Because I recognize not only your humanity, but I recognize the God in you. But that's just how I live my life. I don't know. What
But
y'all say? Drop y'all comments in here. What y'all think about this? Because
here's the thing.
you got to tell us what Frederick Haynes had to say about it.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. But you don't even have to agree to what you don't have to agree to it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to. But here's what you're not gonna do. You're not going to tell. You're not going to press. The reason why Donnie Swagger got me in such a rage, if you will, is because you live in a society where, as a white man, your father was pulled over with a prostitute and y'all still eating off of money that many Black people gave. So while y'all talking about the Black church, many Black people was a part
Congregants.
of the yes, and giving their hard-earned dollars, and y'all still eating off of that. You know how many Black people, much less pastors. I mean, do you know how crucified Jeremiah Wright was for saying the chicken's coming home to roost and what that did?
Mm-hmm.
And so your father was caught with a prostitute and y'all still eating. Jody said it was 1988. It's 2024. Sharon born in the 80s is in their 40s now.
Well, Donnie is 70 and Jimmy is 89.
Right. So you eating still, whereas other people's lives, something like that, their whole ministry would have been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all still got them big buildings down the street from Mall of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sitting on this perch of privilege and entitlement, and have the audacity to say somebody has to say something to the Black church, and so that has to be you, Mr. White Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you got some nerves. Say what you got to say, feel how you got to feel, but now the clapbacks is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And you getting every single clapback that you get, you earned it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're probably too cowardice to even listen.
No, because again, if you have your worldview is I am right, then I don't even need to take in nobody else's information. I don't even need to take in nobody else's perspective. I don't even need to have no empathy for anybody else's perspective or worldview because I am right. I am centered. My worldview is the only worldview. And that's the problem. Because because when he said, I am right, see, he didn't say God is right. He didn't say Jesus was right. He said, I am right. So that tells you everything you need to know about where he stands.
Right. That
tells you everything that you need to know about who he is, where he stands, because it's about him.
Yes. Yes. Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to back it up, girl.
Swaggart, and who is the son of Jimmy Swaggart, had the nerve from his perch of privilege and prejudice to stand up on a Sunday and call out the Black church.
Okay.
Go ahead, rewind it, girl.
Stage for Jim and Jane pro-segregation, and y'all, they have children who are still doing the dirty deed of toxic theology. I saw yesterday that one Donnie Swaggart, who is the son of Jimmy Swaggart, had the nerve from his perch of privilege and prejudice to stand up on a Sunday and call out the black church. Wait, what? He called out the black church. He said, when you support her, didn't even call Kamala Harris by name, but said when you support her, you are supporting sin and evil and supporting all kinds of stuff. Y'all, I'm tripping as this white boy is calling out the black church. Now, let me park here parenthetically and hope that old Donnie tunes in. Donnie, come here for just a second, because first of all, the fact that there is a black church is a judgment on white Christianity, because there would be no black church had the white church not been more white than they are a church. Oh, I'm on one tonight. I'm letting y'all know that right now. And Donnie, my sisters and brothers, had the nerve to call out the black church because in his mindset, we're supporting Kamala Harris, while the white church is supporting Agent Orange, because somehow Agent Orange is the candidate of their God. I get that, because their God ain't my God. My God is the God who showed up in Exodus on the side of the oppressed. My God is the God of divine justice. My God is the God that so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. You see, God loves the world. I guess who's in that world? Palestinians are in that world. Congolese are in that world. Haitians are in that world. Gay folk are in that world. The LGBTQIA community is in that world. God so loved the world. And if you don't love the world like God loves the world, to hell with you, Donnie. White churches set the stage for Jim and Jane.
So there you have it. Dr. Frederick Haynes, everyone. Friendship West Baptist Church, Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And in the words of the people, he said what needed to be said.
Yes. And not only did he say what needed to be said, he said it with the just the right amount of passion that it needed to be articulated with. Because at the end of the day, let me just say this. These last few days, this whole election process has really, it's been percolating in my system and in my spirit in a very different way. You know, the first time Donald John Trump ran for president of the United States, obviously, you know, they were going through all the polls and all the scenarios, and that was aggravating. Don't get me wrong. It was just like, chill out with all that. And we know why. We know why now, why you chill out with all of that. But the first time, people were bold, and they were emboldened, and they said a lot of things and did a lot of things. This time they're learning to keep their mouth shut a little bit. Now, it's still very emboldened, don't get me wrong, but they're learning to keep their mouth shut just a tad bit. But sometimes when people are silent, you have to be even more cautious of their actual motives. Mm-hmm. And we saw what happened on January 6th. So it's not... So violence has never been above folks like this, right? And so this whole situation has been percolating in my spirit in a different way. And I read, you know, a post from our girl Katrina. I read some other different posts, you know, about fasting and praying. And it really the scripture that talks about we are not fighting against flesh and blood. We are not battling against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Like, this is what we are really up against. There is something in this election cycle that is deeper than simply a man versus a woman, a Democrat versus a Republican, a black woman, or a multiracial woman and a white man. This is about principalities. And I don't know, in addition to, calling your friends, your relatives, telling them to go out and vote, in addition to reading up on all your campaign material, pull out your big booklets and stuff. In addition to all of that, I just feel like God is calling us to really, really pray for the soul of this nation. And people can believe what they want to believe. I have no problem. And this is the thing. I don't have a problem with what people believe. But don't try to push your beliefs off on me and tell me, i.e. Donnie Swagger, I am right and you're wrong. One of the things that my friend, so I posted, my friend Quincy was in town and we were having a conversation. One of the things that he said that really resonated with me is, if you are a Christian and you've really studied the word, there is one thing I like about my God is he be chilling in the cut, like, do as you shall.
Do you, boo?
Do you, boo? Jesus ain't never beat nobody over the head to follow him. And God never said you must obey me. That's why we have what they call free will. He gave us free will to make the choices and decisions that work best for us. And so anytime somebody is trying to take away your choices, how they trying to take away your choices and God don't take away your choices? How they trying to take away your rights and your freedoms and your beliefs, and God ain't doing that? And then we're going to talk about this whole concept of Christian nationalism. I don't know what classes they took, but way back in the second grade or so, when they first started telling us about, the folks coming over here from England and all that stuff, the first thing that they said was they wanted freedom from religious persecution. That's what I was told. Now, I ain't gonna sit up here and act like they don't be lying about stuff, but that's what I was told. So now all of this talk about forefathers having been Christians, maybe they were. But you got folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to say separation of church and state really is about the government not getting in the church business, but the church getting the government business. That don't even make sense, lady. That don't even make sense. And these are the lies of the mental gymnastics that are happening. And all I can say is, if you don't know for yourself, people can be easily manipulated. So please, in addition to doing the research about the actual candidates, understand that, as my friend pointed out, if somebody is like, oh, this is about Christianity, it's not. Our nation is supposed to be one, because we are supposed to be still creating this more perfect union, because, baby, we is not perfect. I don't care what folks like to believe or say. And in this imperfect, striving for more perfect union, people are allowed the right to believe what they believe and practice what they practice without persecution. So just imagine if you were a Christian, but you were in a country that was not where Christianity was the majority, and somebody was doing to you what so many of these people are trying to do to folks who don't believe what they believe. It's maddening. So it was in my spirit. I was like, can we talk? Can we just have some honest conversation about what's really going on? This is so much deeper than just politics. And like you said at the top of the hour, I mean, anybody talking about politics don't impact their life. Yes, it does. Like where you live. You don't go to school, you don't pay taxes, you don't go to a job, you don't
drive on the street, go to the grocery store, pay taxes, sales taxes, income taxes. Right. It's just like everything.
Yeah, what do you do? So
I mean, the products that you buy, whether your food is poisoned or not, I mean, it's so many things.
Right, the air you breathe, the environmental, I mean, all these agencies, all this. Anyway, I just dropped a link for the history of Christian nationalism. Y'all, whatever you believe is your belief. I'm not here to evangelize you because I don't think that that's what this is about. But what I am here to say is, anytime you be very mindful of people who, like I said, they're trying to take your choice away, but God said, I give you free will. Do as you will.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Jesus never fought nobody to follow him.
No, he did. Well, you know, this the article or the link that was dropped, if you have a moment tomorrow while you're driving or whenever you catch this broadcast and you get the link, click on it, listen to it. NPR has a show called Throughline. And if you know what a through line is, basically it connects all the dots, right? Because, you know, there's this through line through history to whatever we're experiencing right now. They've had some really good shows recently. So this one on Christian nationalism is an excellent listen. And it really talks about, it kind of takes all the way through in this country, how the blurring and the mixing and the intermingling of Christianity and our politic, where it began, what it's rooted in, and how it is blurred. So even the whole thing, like, you know, if you recall a few years ago about the NFL protests with taking a knee and people were talking about that, all of that, you know, that was like the whole military being involved, the national anthem being played at sporting events. That's a relatively new phenomenon. That hasn't always been the case, right? So this imagery, because it was about, okay, we need to attract. It was a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
You know, it started off as a marketing campaign. And I think people don't recognize or realize that, and then they just accept that this is something we've always done. No, it's not. Because actually, when I was in the band and we had to play the national anthem everywhere, we were told, because you were supposed to have reverence for your national anthem. It wasn't no cheering and applauding and all of this.
Right.
That's not what it was about. So Throughline has this great program. So if you listen to this one, you might get sucked into another one, because there's this other one called The Battle for Jerusalem. And this was so powerful, because as we think about it, was talking about the Crusades, you know. So you're talking about like in the Middle Ages. So the Christian Crusades and the Muslim Crusade, and they talk about the back and forth, how the Muslims and the Christians were always fighting for Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And what we see, what is happening right now? You know, what is happening right now? And that's the thing I loved about Throughline, because this goes all the way back to the 1100s. So anything that we thinking about and we talking about, and they've been killing each other's 30,000 people at a time for over 1,000 years. Because everybody wants to stake their claim. Again, it's about them. It's about my view, my view, my interpretation, mine, and to damn with everyone else. So when you listen to that episode and hear what happened, you know, because you know the Christian Crusades, they went and they were killing people all over to take land and occupy, and then the Muslims fought back, and to see where we are today in that part of the world, still fighting over these things, to see where we are today in a country that was founded on you know, getting away from religious persecution and freedom, and to then and the country who also fought fascism, to then now be turning into a fascistic belief system that, oh, we need to adopt one religion and one identity. It's like, can some of y'all can you just go read a history book? Oh, but we can't because we banned history books because it don't make me feel good about myself.
Well, the last thing I will say, because we want to talk about this BRICS topic as well. The last thing I'll say here is, there was a post that was on Instagram, and it was a young lady basically, again, articulating some of the same things. Like, this is about morality at this point. This is about character, right? And so she was very passionate. And I posted this James Baldwin quote, and I'm going to continue to say this. Listen, and I encourage everybody. This is it. Like, I'm not going to keep having conversations with people. This is it for me. We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and right to exist. So all this, we gonna agree to disagree. Hey, baby, we don't have to agree ever. We gonna disagree because what you're trying to get me to do is to say, I'm okay with you feeling like the way you see the world is the only way the world should be seen.
No, you're also trying to make me be a party to my own destruction and demise.
Correct. And I ain't about
and
to do
I ain't doing that. Who's
Baby,
doing that?
I'm going down like Harriet Tubman. We're going to be swinging. If we got to pull out, no, because I'm not doing it. You're not going to have me, like you said, a party to my own
destruction.
And if you and feel what you want to feel, say what you got to say. But again, we're not going to agree to disagree. We're going to disagree. And I'm not, and like I had to tell my friend, like, because he was really struggling with people that he knows, and it's not even white. I'm not making this black and white, but it's not even white people at this point. It's, it's some black people. Listen, you ain't got to talk to them no more. We've, in the words of Boyz II Men, we've come to the end of the road. And that's okay. I can love you from a very far distance. I don't hate you. I just don't have to have you in my space.
But I will love you as Christ so loved the world and in the way of Jesus loved you. But I will not engage in or participate or even want you in my space, in my life, or kind of giving you love and affection in any way, shape, or form, because I love the person I remember you as, not who you are today. And I think sometimes we forget that people change.
Well, people do change. And look, we came from a small town, and let's call a spade, because we have seen a lot of them saying foolery. And it's like this. As the young lady said in a post a long time ago, when the question was posed, why are Black, I guess, Gen Xers, millennials, whatever, so angry? We're angry because we all grew up together. We grew up together. We listened to hip hop. We fell in love with hip hop. We played sports together. We thought we was cool. And then
I even listened to Bon Jovi with you and Guns N' Roses.
Right. And Garth Brooks, because apparently, Achy Breaky
Girl, we ain't even talk about the Garth Brooks stuff. Yeah. Y'all out here talking about P. Diddy, but what Garth Brooks was over there doing?
I don't know what Garth was doing.
Ooh, child.
Well, let's go ahead and segue into that. But I'm just saying, we thought we was here, and we not. And some of y'all parents, let me just tell you, some of y'all parents were disgusting back when we were growing up, when we were playing basketball together. Yeah, we were playing basketball. We were cool, but I heard your mama talking about Black people.
Yes.
I heard your mama say she don't want you. We come to your house, you can't come to our house.
Mm-hmm.
We know what they were saying. We know what your dad was saying. We know when David Duke ran for governor, y'all voted for him. Your parents, you didn't vote for him. Your parents voted for him. So now here we are, adults, and we supposed to just act like y'all ain't grow up and become your parents. Get out of here. Get out of here. So anyway, but all right, let's talk about Garth Brooks. Jones.
Well, I'm not going to really talk about it. All I know is there's some rape allegations against Garth Brooks. I don't know all the details because it has not been in my zeitgeist, but I know that it also came out, right around the time of when Diddy indictment and arrest happened. So I think it kind of got overshadowed because I think it was about a week later. Yeah. So there are accusations that he, sexually assaulted. It says who was a friend and a makeup artist of a friend of his wife and makeup artist. So I don't know. But I do know one thing. Castradamus said, "Girl, yeah, that's what it said." Garth did. Now I don't know if it's true, but I know Castradamus said all lies will be exposed. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that because I was even flipping through Max. They got an upcoming episode. They got an upcoming documentary on the violence of Chris Brown and all of and I was like, oh, well, a whole documentary. Oh, because beyond just not just it's starting with Rihanna, but all to even very recently. I was like, oh. It's a mess out here in these streets. These folks are out here wilding out. That music industry is, as you said, the spirits and principalities and immorality. Yes, it's something else. That music business is something else.
But look, it is. But don't get distracted because that's another part of the game, right? They trying to keep us distracted with all these other stories and foolery and everything like that. No, let's not stay distracted. So my advice, get you a voting plan. Tell your peeps, get out there. Like my sister said, over 30 million people have voted. But come on, stop playing. Don't wait till the last minute because if you're out there and you're hungry and you need some water, you can't get none in certain states. So
that's right.
Get out there, make your plan. But if you believe in prayer, then might I invite you to pray for the health and the heart of this nation, because it's some ugliness going on. And
well, then so as you talk about this nation, let's go ahead and talk about BRICS Plus. And so last week last week there was a 3-day summit in Russia of the BRICS nation. So, when I was in industry, we were talking about the BRICS countries then, right? Brazil, Russia, India, and China. It was just those 4 at the time. Then they've added South Africa. So now South Africa, that's where the S come in. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now they're adding more countries. Turkey, since it's not Turkey no more, Turkey and Ethiopia and some other countries.
Iran, United Arab Emirates, Azerbaijan, and Malaysia.
Yes, these countries represent over half of the world's population. Okay, so while we are dealing with this election and this person who wants to be a dictator because many of the people in leadership in these countries are dictators, their people don't have any power and or agency and or a voice or a freedom of speech. They are state-controlled media and the like. But these countries also, oh, what happened to my sister? Child, I don't know where she went. Okay. She's been having some technical difficulty. But I'm going to drop a few articles in there. These nations are emerging countries, and they are, as I said, not only representing over half of the world's population, but they are coming together to share power, resources, and even considering their own currency so that they can be outside of the dollar. Because, you know, we as the United States, the dollar is the standard around the world. Well, if the dollar is no longer the standard, then what does that mean? And so I would say we need to pay attention. We need to pay very close attention. And there is a candidate who has an affinity for dictatorial leaders like these. And in their countries, if people protest, thinking about just watching on The View, Alexei Navalny's widow, they get murdered.
Yeah.
If you disagree with policy, if you disagree with the how the system is oppressive,
and
your plane gets shot down.
Yeah, and this is why when somebody is saying,
yeah,
this will be the last election you have to vote in, like, we have to take those things seriously. These are not idle threats. Y'all talking about a stimulus check. You talking about abortion. Like, if you don't want to have an abortion, don't have an abortion. But this is not about, it's about so much more than just one issue. And these one issue voters, I do not get. Because again, here we go. When we think about Christ and we think about Christianity, because that's the CHRIST part of Christian. Christ wasn't just like, yeah, you know, I'm focused on just doing this one thing, right? It was about the least amongst us. It was about the widows. It was about the orphans. It was about the children. It was about the elderly. It was about the poor. It was about all of those things. So having one issue and ignoring a candidate who has an affinity for dictators, a candidate who is enamored by people calling his name and putting him on a pedestal, a candidate who has indicated that he would use the military against citizens in this country, a candidate who plans to, or has said that he would go after his, political opponents, and a candidate who has indicated that this will be the last election you have to vote in, because he's basically trying to say he's going to get rid of the idea that you have to have term limits as a president of this United States. No, Putin has been in office since God only knows. I feel like it was Gorbachev and then Putin. I don't know. I'm sure there was somebody else in between, but he's been in office for a very long time. And every time they have these elections, they're shams. They're not real elections. And that's what Donald Trump aspires to be and have happen in this country. And we cannot take those things lightly.
Mm-hmm.
We can't take those things lightly, especially to your point where you have these other global leaders getting together to say, how can we create the same level of power and influence are greater power and influence than the West and the U.S. and its European allies.
And here, this is an example. So Putin had 2 terms in 2000 to 2008. There was another president after him for 4 years. He has been now in office since 2012. He came back to office in 2012 to the present. So for over 12 years. So when you add that up, since 2000, he's been in office over 20 years. That is the aspiration. You know, and I know that he is older and what have you, but you can destroy, you know, this man is 72 years old. He has been in office over 20 years. You can destroy a country and everything that we believe and know to be normal. Now, listen, I'm not saying we the know all, be all, bees knees. I ain't saying that. I ain't saying that. So let's get that right. Do I think that other nations have, you know, one of the things when we were visiting South Africa, you know, is just all the things that we saw. We know that they're only 29 years out of their apartheid, but we saw the outsized influence of China and Russia in South Africa while we were there in many ways. And as much as we loved it, it was beautiful. We talked to some people, you know, as we talked to her, like, y'all don't need to trust them either. You know, you might have issues with the United States, but please don't trust them. Like, don't trust none of them. Y'all need to consolidate, come together and work together, you know, because it is very interesting the number of nations on the continent that have all the natural resources and who is now trying to take advantage of their natural resources because they have none of their own. It still sounds very colonialism to me.
Well, and let's be clear. Let's add to that. When we talk about the system of apartheid, 29 years out of apartheid, we have someone in this country who happens to be a multi-billionaire who is influencing
a native
Trump, and he benefited from the system of apartheid in South Africa. Elon Musk has directly benefited. His wealth was partially or largely created by the system of oppression known as apartheid in South Africa. And this is one of,
that's the inherited wealth, because the rest of his wealth and the reason why he's so involved and wants to be so involved is because the rest of his wealth came from subsidies from the U.S. federal government for the not just SpaceX, but also for electric vehicles. And now he's trying to take his electric vehicles, because there's been all these kind of issues here in this country because they just them self-driving vehicles is killing people. So now we're trying to have some regulation. I don't want regulation, so now I'm trying to take them self-driving vehicles over there to China. That's what's happening. And so I want to be involved because I want the subsidies so I can continue to subsidize my wealth. You know, his billions were made largely because of the tax breaks and the subsidies. Basically, he was underwritten, but then you don't want to pay, you don't want to give somebody a break on a student loan. Get them out of here with that foolishness. I'm sick of y'all.
I am too, but I'm sick of
I'm stupid. You want to support that,
but I'm more sick of people who barely make $100,000 a year acting like they got something in common with Elon Musk. Like, you're not voting the same. Your reasons are not the same as his.
No.
So you talked about Putin. Kim Jong-un has been in office since 2011. Before him, it was his pa, Kim Jong-il. So again, here we go. You see who who Donald Trump wants to emulate, and yet we're sitting up here acting like this is not dangerous. Principalities, folks.
Principalities and immoralities. So with that being said, y'all better get out, get that vote on. Tell all your friends, tell your family, tell your cousins, knock on your neighbor's door, make sure everybody has gone and voted. Everybody who is an eligible voter, we want them to cast a ballot. Y'all know who we supported, so we don't have to repeat it, but for good measure, let's not turn back the hands of time. Let's continue to move forward. So with that, peace.
Good night, y'all.